afternoon. What's happening?
How do you like Winnipeg?
Just got here late last night. I haven't really cruised around yet, but so far so good. I like my hotel room.
Why Winnipeg?
Why Winnipeg? Because we haven't been to Winnipeg yet. Why not Winnipeg?
The fighters?
Huh?
Was the background of decent fighters from the city?
Well, I mean, there's decent fighters from all over Canada, but we take this thing everywhere, all over the world, and we haven't been to Winnipeg yet. So
You had trouble in Calgary, you had a little trouble here now. Is it kind of a black cloud hanging over your cards in Canada?
Well, if you look at last year was the worst year we've ever had out of 13 years. And these things are going to happen. Unfortunately, a couple of them happened in Canada here. So, but here's the thing: the one thing that I'm focused on, we've never been to Winnipeg ever. So a lot of people from this area, it's sold out. We broke the record here. None of these people have seen it live. And if you've never seen it live, it's great on TV. It is the most exciting live sporting event you will ever see. I know I'm a little biased when I say that, but I promise you, the people in this town who bought tickets are going to have a blast on Saturday night.
Actually, if you go to the airport in Winnipeg the night before one of your fights in Toronto, Montreal, or Calgary, it's full. Winnipeggers travel to see your fights all the time. This is a city that really prides itself as being a big UFC place. Can you tell that already? Obviously, your ticket sales go a long way to tell that, but is there more about this city that attracts you than just being able to sell tickets fast?
Well, when you put tickets on sale in a place, you never know how tickets are going to sell. Obviously, you hope when you're going to a new place and people haven't been, you're going to do well, and we did. So you really do tell by ticket sales. A place like this, when you come in, you sell out. Not only sell out, but break the record. And we're actually figuring out how to release some more tickets for people too. One of the things that we do is, there's always bumps on the road. There's, guys get injured. It happens. We put the Roy Nelson fight on as soon as Barral went out. Then the other injury happened so close, we couldn't fix it. Chael wanted to fight Shogun, but he can't fight it on that short of notice. The guy was going to do it with John Jones. We can't keep asking Chael to do that, especially with 2 losses and the guy wants to continue to fight. But the one thing that the UFC always does is we deliver. Every time we come in, these fighters will put on a show, and people will leave happy. In the 13 years, I can count on one hand how many shows have sucked. So we will deliver here Saturday night.
Did the building size scare you or encourage you?
Does what scare me?
Did the building size scare you or encourage you?
It encourages me. I love it. Yeah, that doesn't scare me.
Okay, with the recent changes to the criminal code up here in Canada, now MMA, there's no kind of, it's clear now that it is legalized right across the country. Is that going to open up a lot more markets now for you? Does that change any plans when it comes?
It definitely does, Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We want to take this thing everywhere, and now we can. Now we literally can.
Does that impact? I know in Vancouver there was the whole insurance issue. Does that kind of clear this up? Is that going to change with this now? Now there's no the criminal code. There's no gray area now. Does that affect things in Vancouver?
It should. Yeah, it should work.
Can you tell from your sales whether you've drawn people from far and wide to this event? It's isolated in some respects. Have you been able to bring people in from as far away as you would normally?
It doesn't matter where we go, in what country or what city we're in. The UFC is one of those events that people travel to, and people coming in from all over. So it's not like if you had a concert here in Winnipeg, a lot of people from Winnipeg would, maybe a couple people from here and there. People are coming in from all over the world for this fight.
When it comes to John Jones' next opponent, do you kind of have an opponent in mind, or is this main event on Saturday, could that make changes in terms of who Jones fights next at 205?
Jones going to fight Gustafsson in September. In Toronto. Yep.
When Winnipeg sells out this fast, does it encourage you to come back, or is that something that can't be done for a while?
How soon?
What was the question?
Like when Winnipeg sells out this fast, does it make you want to come back? How quickly? You have to go to other places in Canada, I guess, first. Before you can come back here.
Yeah, definitely a great market and one we will come back to.
But how soon?
We haven't even left yet. How could I say when we'll be back?
Are you guys contemplating Cowboys Stadium for October?
No. No.
You guys working on the
We're going to Houston in October.
Would that probably be Kane and JDS?
Probably. What's that?
Sorry. I read yesterday there was rumors that you sort of selected October final for UFC for Johnny Hendricks. Is there any more on that? Any more confirmation?
Yeah, no, October's probably going to be Kane and JDS.
And will that be, sorry, GSP and Johnny Hendricks?
Yeah, no. In October, no.
When would that?
I don't know. I don't.
JDS be in Houston, is that what you're targeting?
Yeah. Arena.
One fighter told me, he says, I can't drop out of fights to pay my bills. But
He said he can't what?
He can't drop out of fights when he's hurt because he has to pay his bills.
Right.
He says the upper echelon guys have that option. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the fighter, you know, how much money fighters are making and everything else. No matter what job you're in, no matter what position you're in, no matter where you work, you make a certain amount of money. And you have to spend your money wisely and live within your means. We all do. There's no difference. But when a fighter gets hurt, yeah, and he's expecting that paycheck to come, not good. Definitely doesn't help.
What keeps the momentum going? What has kept it going all these years?
The momentum?
Yeah.
It's an exciting, fun sport to be a part of.
But you still have to stay ahead of the game, right?
What's that?
You still have to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah. What do you mean by stay ahead of the game?
Things kind of, in today's day and age, they get popular and then they die out. But this thing just keeps
but,
rolling. Like, what,
you know, my philosophy on this has always been, fighting doesn't die out. Fighting's been around since the beginning of time, and it'll be here till the end of time. You know, and what we've done is we put together a sport that is very exciting, very entertaining on television and live, and yeah, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Why do you think that people haven't grasped the concept yet of waiting to see what happens on Saturday night before they rag on a fight card?
Well, I think that we have a bunch of fans who love to bitch about shit. You know what I mean? If people aren't bitching about shit, they're not happy. So, I mean, I don't know how many times it's got to be proven that you're going to say a card sucks before it happens. You're either a fight fan or you're not. If you're a fight fan, you know, I see guys saying, I'm definitely not buying this card. Who gives a shit? Did anybody ask you if you were going to buy this card or not? Just those people just like to bitch, you know? I'm one of those guys, if two guys are fighting on Saturday night and I'm home and it's on TV, I'm watching it because I'm a fight fan. Then you're going to have some fans that are people that are kind of fringe. You know, if a big fight happens like Anderson and Chael, when that happened, that was one of those spillover fights that people, you know, even this Floyd Mayweather fight that didn't do that great this last time. Well, now they're doing the Canelo fight. This is one of those spillover fights where a lot of people will be interested in this fight.
How do you see that fight, Dana? Canelo and Mayweather.
I think it'll look just like Mayweather's last fight. I think Floyd's too fast and too defensive for Canelo. I don't know.
Ever think of bringing Floyd to the UFC?
No. Floyd would never come to the UFC.
There's been some talk about, or criticism of the pay-per-view model for UFC. Do you see yourself moving away from pay-per-view or branching out elsewhere, maybe pay-per-view online streaming? Just that it's going to kill the UFC, that it isn't going to work.
We've been on pay-per-view for 13 years.
Yeah? But are there, like, would there be maybe other ways of getting fights out there, streaming online page or whatever?
We're on TV. I mean, every way that you could buy a fight, you can. You could buy a fight on your iPad. I mean, every way that you could possibly purchase a fight, you can. But pay-per-view is still.
Doesn't that kind of restrict your market?
Not when you're on free television. I'm doing 34 fights a year, and 13 of those are on pay-per-view. The rest are on free television. In 175 countries, 23 different languages, and 1 billion homes worldwide on television. I don't think we're limiting our ability for people to watch.
But in other countries, it's on subscription, isn't it?
Right.
So they've got subscription
Well, it
channels.
depends on where. It depends. It depends on what market you're in. In Australia, it's on free TV and it's on pay-per-view. In England, it's been a nightmare. Now we just got Mexico done. We're on free TV and subscription down there. In Brazil, we're on the biggest, it's basically like being on Fox with no competition whatsoever, and we're on subscription too. So there's different models in different countries.
Okay, now that you got Mexico done, how far away do you think you are from an event there?
Say that again?
Now that you got Mexico done with a big network, how far away do you think an event is?
Soon, I hope. You know, I definitely, now that it's on free TV, give it a little time down there, and we'll bring an event to Mexico very soon.
Only 4 events on that channel, right? Televisa? Only 4 big events they'll have? And then it's
Yeah,
on
I think so. Yep. It's better than 0.
Not in 2015, right? For an event there?
Not what?
It wouldn't be this year, a debut there, right?
No. Well, the last fight was on TV now.
Have an event in Mexico.
Oh, an event? No.
Eye pokes has been a little bit of a problem. You guys working on new gloves or something different?
Eye pokes. Yeah, we're working on gloves, but the thing is that we've been using the same gloves for, forever. Just people need to start closing their hands is what needs to happen. But yeah, we're working on a glove. And even when we work in these gloves that kind of curve your hands a little bit like this, I mean, if you're reaching out, you can still go down somebody's. There's no way we can cover the fingers. Guys just need to start closing their hands. It didn't happen for a long time. Now there's like an epidemic.
What do you expect to see from Evans and Henderson?
What's that?
Evans and Henderson? What do you expect?
Well, I love when 2 really good wrestlers fight because usually it ends up standing up. And these are 2 really good wrestlers who can both knock you out. So it should be a good fight. And it's a big win for both these guys. Both these guys need this win bad.
You know, I was just going to ask how big this is, because would you say that the loser of this fight might be done in terms of ever being able to compete for a title in the UFC ever again?
Definitely.
Definitely done.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, anything's possible. You could lose this fight and then go on an 8-fight win streak, but, yeah, I would say statistically, it would be tough to come back from this loss.
In terms of New York, Dana, with the assembly session ending on June 20th, is there any hope of some kind of Hail Mary that this thing gets passed, or is this year kind of a write-off?
I don't even want to talk about New York anymore. Who gives a shit? It will, or who gives a shit? It will or it won't. I don't care.
Any more plans for a TUF in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing it. Oh, it's happening. Oh, yeah. It's happening, boys and girls.
John, and you mentioned, I think, in Vegas that Jones was over in Russia. We heard some rumblings that Gustafsson was over in Russia.
Yeah.
Were those guys over there just to kind of spread the UFC word? Or were you
Cain Velasquez was there too, and a bunch of other guys that went there. There was some big wrestling tournament. Yeah, there was a big wrestling tournament over there, I guess, and they all got brought out for it.
I mean, I know you've talked that that's a goal at some point.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with us, all the guys being in Russia.
That's just another bucket list item that you guys have to keep working toward.
Yeah.
What is your number one issue that you're working on right now? Like,
our number one issue? Well, it depends. It depends on who you're talking about. If you're a lawyer that works at the UFC, you're working on New York right now. If you're Lorenzo, you're working on a lot of international stuff. If you're me, I'm working on the Fox deal and all the things that are going on, all the fights here in the United States. I'm filming The Ultimate Fighter right now, working on The Ultimate Fighter Canada, et cetera, et cetera. So we're dividing and working on lots of different things. Yeah, legal stuff. The lawyers are working on all the legal stuff, not me.
How's it going for Tough?
Huh?
How's it going for Tough in Vegas?
Tough Vegas? It's going exactly the way you would expect it to be going. Yeah.
With all the
Bad.
good Russian talent, are you thinking about doing a TUF in Russia? Or would there be too many hurdles?
Yeah, well, we're not even there yet. I mean, yeah,
But you're getting some fantastic
our
players.
goal is we'd like to do Tough everywhere, in every country. And, I said that, I don't know how many years ago, and look at what we're doing now. I mean, we're getting there. The next one we'd be really working on is Tough Mexico.
Joking when you said bad for Tough?
No, dead serious. Misha and Ronda hate each other. It's like literally crazy drama every day. It's irritating.
It's not Carl Nelson bad, or is it?
Oh, no. Let's not get crazy here.
Ken Tito bad.
You think it'll make for good TV?
Yeah, it's Ken Tito type stuff.
Well, that's good. That was your good ratings.
Ken Tito type stuff.
You think it'll make for good TV with the?
I don't even know if some of that stuff will make TV. Yeah.
Is that bad?
It's bad.
You can have the first
Those
tough
two
baby.
do not like each other. And their camps do not like each other. And it is just pure fucking mayhem every day.
I know you can't probably talk much about it, but the dynamic of the men and women in the house, is that going okay?
Yeah. Yeah, that's going well. You know, there's some men and women there that are serious and want to be in the UFC and want to fight for a living, and, you know, they're doing their thing.
Is there any romance? Could we have the first tough baby? Could they call it Dana or Tom?
I don't know if there's any romance. I don't see that stuff till it gets to the end. You know, I don't. I know what goes on at the gym, and if I show up at the house, bad shit happened. That's it. That's all I know about.
Burrell and Wyman supposed to be on this card. Do you have any update on, first of all, on Burrell's foot, how much longer he may be out? And then secondly, any update at all on Dominic?
No, on neither. You know, I heard for Burrell, it was ligaments, and, you know, those are never good. You'd actually rather break a bone than have that happen. And then Dominic, I don't know about Dominic. I know Dominic's training, but I don't know when he's...
What would you do at this point? I mean, if you're Eddie, who has an interim title shot, now he doesn't, and now he's concerned that, hey, Burrell and Cruz might come back at the same time, and I might be left out in the cold.
Sure.
If you were him, would you take a fight?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. Look what Rashad did. Remember when Rashad sat out all that time waiting for the title? So he sat out all that time waiting for the title, didn't make money, didn't have fights. You know, your window in sports is, you know, is very...
He ultimately got a shot, though, but then you got a guy like Josh.
No. Then the fight was set, and then he got hurt.
But he ultimately, though, did get back to a title fight, whereas a guy like Josh Crispy turned one out.
A year and a half later.
Right.
A year and a half later. You know, he could have fought 5 fights. He could have fought 5 times while he was waiting.
Your opinion remains: take the risk, fight, make money.
If you truly believe you're the best, you're going to win anyway. You know what I mean? If you don't, then what are you doing here anyway?
Would that apply to Fabricio Verdum at the moment as well, then, in that sense that he might try and wait for Dos Santos and Velasquez if he was in a title?
Yeah. I'm always an advocate of fight. Fight as much as you can. You know, you stay in great shape, your timing, everything, you get better with every fight, and you get paid. You get paid.
What's going on with Roy Nelson? This is the last fight on his deal, and win or lose, are you guys going to sit down and hammer out a new deal? What's going on with Roy?
We'll see what happens, you know. This is his last fight, and we had to get him. This is why he's on this card. We had to get him this fight before his contract expires in July. So we'll see what happens.
Dana, Little Nog got hurt, and it became apparent that Chael Sonnen's name was in the mix for that fight. Was it Chael or bust, or were you contemplating putting in a lower ranked opponent for Chauvin just to keep him on the card?
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem. Nobody's going to take a Shogun fight on that short a notice, except for Chael. But even Chael wanted time to have a proper camp for it. Chael just lost to, you know, people keep talking about how much Chael loses. Chael lost to Anderson Silva, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, then moved up to 205 to face John Jones, the number 2 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. So, you know, his losing record isn't that horrible, and he wanted to prepare properly for this fight. I don't blame him. And he wants to go in and get a win against Shogun.
Are you guys concerned about the bantamweight division right now with obviously the champion out, the interim champion is now out? Is there concern behind the closed doors that we got a problem here?
No. Never thought about it once. You know, it's goofy if we have to do an interim to the interim, but no. We're letting Dominic Cruz try to get well. You know, he's a good kid. I like him. We'll see what happens. And like I said, I don't want to say it again because you guys go out, somebody starts tweeting. He said Cruz should retire right now, and then Cruz is like, "Did you say I should retire?" And it's like this fucking drama scene that I got to deal with for 2 hours. You know, if he can't get healthy, we'll go from there.
You said it'd be goofy if you did an interim to the interim, but would you do it if Burrell can't be back for 8 months or something?
No.
That would probably be a first, I would assume.
Yeah, it would definitely be a first.
Dana, what happened after UFC 160? Did you bail someone out of jail, like some famous guy, like an action sports?
No, I didn't bail him out of jail. They were going to arrest him. He's got this comedy thing that he does on YouTube, and he's telling me before the fight, yeah, we had a blast last night. They had this big fake roll of money that they were messing with people with, and he did it by the police, and the police grabbed him and didn't like the way he was talking to him, and then he said that he was a friend of mine, so they talked to me, and I said, yes, he's a friend of mine. He's, and no, he's from Jersey, so I'm sure he was mouthing off, and the cops were really cool about it, so they let him go.
Is there a rule how much time before the event that you will take it from a 5-round to a 3-round? Or is it up to the fighters?
Yeah, no. If we have to, if we make a fight, and it's not a title fight, but it's the main event, it's a 5-rounder. But if in the middle of somebody falls off and we make it a 3-rounder, not a 5. Yeah, but they don't. Going into a camp, they have to know ahead of time if they're fighting 5 rounds. So you can't do that to the guys and make it a 5-rounder halfway through their camp.
The Aldo Pettis fight and the Lamas Zombie fight, I think it's kind of widely assumed that the winners would fight each other if everybody comes out healthy, and you guys haven't said that officially. Is that the goal at this point?
I haven't even thought about it.
No?
Yeah. We got to see what happens first. I'm excited for that fight, though. Aldo and Pettis is going to be awesome.
What are your thoughts on Lamas Zombie?
Yeah, I'm excited about Aldo Pettis. That's for the title. To a guy who should be fighting Ben Henderson right now at 55, but can make 45 to go down to fight Aldo. A guy who beat Ben Henderson. It's a great fight. And every time Pettis, first of all, Aldo's a beast, man. The guy is just unbelievable what he's capable of doing. He looks unstoppable going in against a guy who every time he fights, it looks like somebody's playing a video game, with the type of moves and things that this kid can do. I just can't wait for that fight. It's a fun one.
On the agenda here in the Peg, got any big plans?
What's out on my agenda? Yeah. Nothing. I've never been here. I'm probably just going to cruise around, check it out, and go to a fight on Saturday night.
Dana, is there a date for the October Houston show other than 104 tactic?
For the October Houston show, there is a date, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Somebody will check and get back to me.
Sure. Yeah. I probably wasn't even supposed to announce it today, so maybe nobody's going to get back to you. You're going to be like, God damn it, he did it again. Hate when he does scrums. Huh? Probably, yeah. Vegas.
How do you think Barnett Mears going to go?
Say that either, huh?
How do you think Barnett Mears going to go?
I don't know. It's a good fight. It's a good fight.
Definitely a good fight.
Josh Barnett stand-up is very, very good. It'd be interesting to see what happens when they go to the ground.
Yeah, that'll be the funnest part.
I agree. Yeah. It'll be more fun than the stand-up because I think that Josh Barnett's stand-up is a lot better than Frank Mears.
I hope it looks a little like Big Noggin Fabricio on the ground for that, because that was just great fun for 45 seconds.
That whole
but
Brazil
it was so
card was awesome, man. It was so awesome.
Loved it.
Me too.
Was there anything go to decision in that? I don't think there was one fight that went to decision in that card.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think there was.
Maybe in the Facebooks, I didn't catch those.
Actually, the Facebooks were ones that we actually popped into the show because they were so good too. Yeah.
Dana, I guess I would preface this by saying I like this style, but I've been to major press conferences with commissioners, most of the big leagues, and I've never been entertained by one in jeans and a t-shirt who used fucking mayhem as one of his phrases. Is that your style?
I don't know. That's a good question. Suits don't make you any smarter. I can tell you that. I don't like wearing them. I wear them at the fights. That's about it. And, I've said this before. I grew up watching guys, whether it was sports figures or, heads of leagues or guys who ran companies or whatever it was. And every time they'd come out and talk, they were reading canned statements that were written by lawyers. It's not me. Since day one, since we bought this company, we've been pretty open book. I've been very open with the media. I've had my good and bad moments with the media, but 100% of it is all honest. I don't ever not tell you what I'm thinking. I just gave out 3 dates here that I probably shouldn't have given out. That's PR is going to be pissed off and bang their head against the wall. It's just, I don't know. If you talk to me, you're going to hear what I think and what I have to say.
I wouldn't say you're reckless, but you're not careful.
Good. That's a pretty good analogy. I like that. Definitely not reckless, but I'm not careful.
Well, does it get you into trouble?
I've gotten in trouble before, definitely.
Why don't you change?
I don't want to.
You wouldn't be changing? Excuse me, can I ask him a question?
I just don't want to change.
And is that you're the face of the UFC? It would strike me as maybe you connect with your people better, your fans, better because you look and act just like one of them.
Yeah, I've always, the fans are such a huge, they're involved in this. I think that's why our fans are so crazy. And we were just talking about it earlier, how they'll just start bitching about stuff early. Our fans actually feel like they do have some say and they do make a difference. Like their voices are heard, whether it's through the internet. I mean, the night of the fight, I get here early and I call her Twitter baby, but one of the girls that works social media with me, Kristen, we sit in the back and we read everything that the fans are saying. We engage with them. We go back and forth. And one of the things that I love about social media is that one-on-one contact with the fans. Not just because I like it and I like, the fact that they can be heard, but there's times where we'll be in the arena and some guy bought bad tickets we make mistakes too. One time we had fans that were sitting in seats where we should have killed those seats. And there were cameras in front of them. So because of Twitter, I was able to move a whole section of fans into another section and make sure that everybody has a great experience that night and leaves the arena with the show we intended to put on for them, So, there's just so many different reasons why I do it.
So the fans do matter then, right, Dana? Fans matter. You care a lot about your fans.
I do. Yeah, I must engage with fans more than any other person involved in sports. Commissioner, player, owner, whatever you want to call it. And some of it's good and some of it's bad, Like he was saying earlier, why do you act like this and why do you do this? It's because it's the way that I want to react, I sit on, if you've ever read my Twitter timeline, if you come on and say some stupid shit to me, get ready, it's coming right back at you. And the way that I look at that is, if you walked up to me right now and said some things to me that I don't like, I would tell you exactly what I think about you and what you think. Why should that be any different on Twitter?
When did you make this decision, though? Like, every other commissioner gets an MBA, goes to law school, becomes a commissioner, puts on a suit, and becomes a plastic surgeon with the language. You never did that. Why not?
I think that I've been extremely lucky because I've been like this since day one, and as the sport continued to grow, people just got used to it. As far as swearing goes, I know there's a lot of people out there. I was just in Clemson at the football camp my kids were in, and the coach there doesn't swear at all. He doesn't like swearing, and he doesn't believe in swearing. And I think that everybody can have their own opinions or whatever. The way that I look at it is we're all grown-ups. And I'm a grown-up, and I say some bad words here and there. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
Is it automatic that you'll, like, if it goes well Saturday night in Winnipeg, you'll be back?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You know already you'll be back?
Yeah. We'll be back. This is a great market. We went on sale, we sold out. I know that there's been a lot of talk about, a couple of the fights fell off and things. When we come into a town, especially, I love going into places we've never been because I know that the people there have never experienced the UFC live. I can tell you this, we're going to put on a show like you have never seen before. Everybody's going to leave this arena on Saturday night going, God damn, that was fun.
Are your cards louder in NHL arenas than NHL games? Will you be louder than a Jets game?
And then a Jets game? Like the NFL?
NHL. The Winnipeg Jets playing this.
Yeah, that's what a big. That's how much I know my NHL. That's a good question. I don't know. We've gone to places where, yeah, it's. I mean, Brazil is insane. Ireland, we only had 9,500 people, and pound for pound was the loudest place I've ever been. And Canada is always. I mean, the Canadian fans are sports fans, and they love hockey and they love the UFC. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's usually energy. Have you ever been to one live yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. You've been to a live UFC. You get it. It's the one thing. Our live event is the one thing that has helped grow this business. First of all, when we go into a new market, there's always an explosion after we leave of mixed martial arts schools popping up and everything else when we go into these other countries that have never been exposed to it. But there's never been a time, and even back in the days when the UFC wasn't as big as it is, where we would bring a studio executive, a sponsor, somebody who didn't really like the sport or didn't know enough about it. Nobody has ever walked out of that arena and go, yeah, this sucks. I'm never gonna check this out again. The live events really helped us get to where we are. Who did?
The kid that got lumped up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was ringside for that for years.
Okay.
I closed my computer and they were all coming.
No kidding. See, people always say, are we going to be, I'm always like, come on, that's ridiculous. Blood doesn't spray out of the cage. Maybe it does sometimes.
How long was the plan to come to Winnipeg? Like, how long does it take to get the UFC to the city?
Well, if you look at how long our first fight in Canada, we've been to Montreal a zillion times, we've been to Toronto a few times, we've been to Vancouver, we're finally just getting to Winnipeg. So it took a while.
So it's been in the works for a few years. It's not something that happens.
When Tom Wright started with us, Tom Wright came up with a plan, how to really take this thing all over Canada. And here we are. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
A couple words on UFC 62, Anderson versus Weidman. How do you think that'll go?
All the pros, like when you talk to all the fighters, every fighter out there that I've talked to and that we've interviewed thinks Weidman's going to beat him. Yeah. George St-Pierre thinks he's going to win so much that he didn't even want to
go up to
plan to fight Anderson.
I agree, but Anderson can do things nobody else can.
And then
do you agree with that?
Every media guy that I asked all picked Anderson Silva. You like Weidman?
Well, I like Weidman, but Anderson can do things nobody else can.
I agree.
You can't say nothing about it.
I agree.
Yeah, when TRT became kind of a hot issue in the past, TRT. Yeah. You were clear on it, or you were in line with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Then you changed your tune and you were against it, and you said we're going to test the hell out of it like nobody else. A couple days ago, the CSAC announced that they will not allow that anymore. Has your stance changed at all? Has it been emboldened? Where are you on that right now?
I would like to think that my stance and position on it has helped the athletic commissions make some tough decisions on it. I think that I had no problem with it before. I get it. It's sports science, and they figured out a way to get. But the problem I had was that the guys were abusing it and cheating. And what I mean by that is if you take this stuff in large amounts, it's basically like taking steroids. And if you're a younger guy, an older guy, whatever your deal is, you're able to recover faster. In training, you're stronger, you're faster, you're this, you're that. And then what you do is by the end of your camp, you tone it down to get back within the limits. It's not fair. You got a guy who is using nothing except, his natural abilities and out there working and taking his lumps and bruises and resting and sleeping at night and coming back the next day. It's not fair.
So how do you reconcile it that's your position, and yet one of the kind of the more known faces, of course, in the last couple of years, Chael Sonnen uses it. Yeah. Vitor Belfort's had 2 amazing head kick knockouts in his last 2 fights. So you have your stance, and then when you see like his results and then Chael being so popular, how do you kind of reconcile that with your own feelings or your own beliefs as it relates to your business? So
what we do is exactly what I said we were going to do. Is we're going to test these guys through, randomly test them throughout their training to see where their limits are, and we did, And Vitor Belfort's been getting a lot of heat for it, but Vitor Belfort has complied. He has complied with what we're going to do, and it's legal. Not in California now, but it's legal in other places. So until it's not legal everywhere else, and we're going to keep Keep an eye on these guys and make sure that it's fair. And I would have to agree with Luke Rockhold with the Vitor Belfort thing. TRT didn't kick him in the head.
Thanks. Did Roy Nelson steal the show Saturday night?
Be good. The thing is about Roy Nelson knocked out Czech Congo with a punch to the neck. You know what I mean? When you hit that hard, the guy hits hard. He's got an unbelievable chin. His wrestling is great, and he's a great jiu-jitsu guy. Grooming, not so well. Watching his weight, not great. But everywhere else,
That's like me. I don't care about grooming or watching my weight, so I'm assuming that's why people love him. Is that?
people love him because he's a fighter. He goes out there and he'll fight anybody. Look at he took this fight, didn't know who he was going to fight, and then we end up putting Stipe in there. He's a guy who will go out and fight, and he's a guy who will try to knock your head off, and that's what fans love. And they probably like him because I don't.
If he wins this fight, he's going to no doubt say that he should be next in line after Kane and JDS.
Next in line for a title?
Wouldn't you assume that
If he beats Stipe, he's not next in line. He'd have to beat one of the top guys. We were just talking about Verdum sitting out for so long.
Rematch? Like a rematch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you assume that Roy's the kind of guy, though, that's going to say, if he wins, I should be next?
No, if he wins, he's going to say all kinds of stupid shit.
Is that going to make it
That's what we're used to. I'm used to him saying stupid shit.
Will
Yeah.
that make it harder to negotiate with him since this is his last fight on the game?
Is it ever easy to negotiate with Roy Nelson? No. Doesn't matter. If he loses Saturday, he'll be tough to deal with. If he loses 5 in a row, he'll be tough to deal with. That it?
So.
All right.
Thank you.